This is a Divinity Engine 2 tutorial on how to create a basic spell. The example is going to be with a Grenadier class. So you're going to start by opening Divinity Engine 2, create a new project. You're going to have an add-on and you want to load data from story, and your target is either story or GM. Name your project. We're going to name this Grenadier sample. Let it load. So here you need to create a level. We're going to use a basic level. We're going to name it Grenadier test. And we're going to remove it so it's not actually a target level for someone to play when they use the add-on. Now the first thing you want to do is go into your stats editor, and the spell we want to take is going to be in the shared project, and it's in skill data projectiles. So we're going to grab the grenade spell and we're going to copy it and put it into our own version of the skill data projectile in Grenadier sample. So right now I'm finding it. There, I found the grenades. Grab all the grenades, copy it, paste it into our new skill data projectile in our own Grenadier sample section. So these are all the grenades that are already built into the game. So we have now our own copy of these, which we're going to rename Grenadier. I like to prefix everything you use with Grenadier, either prefix or add in there so it's easily searchable, and so it doesn't overwrite the original spells. That way we can modify these to our card's content and it won't mess with anyone else's mod. Now I'm not going to go through and make all of these. I'm just going to use 2 or 3 as an example, but I'm going through and labeling them all at least, just because it's the first thing you want to do is make sure that you have them all labeled properly, so if you ever change them in the future, you're not modifying base game spells. Now I was going to go to the treasure table, but we're not actually going to build a vendor in this. So I went to the stats in the object, and here we're going to look for the spell book, so we can actually give ourselves the skills in the game. You have to make your own spell books. This is also necessary for vendors too. So I'm looking for a ranger spellbook that I'm going to copy the base of and use to create the spellbooks for the Grenadier class. So I'm going to grab 3 ranger ones and copy them, put them in my own stats object in Grenadier sample. Paste it in. So from here, I'm going to change the name. I'm going to remove the requirements because if you don't do this, you're going to need one in Huntsman in order to be able to record, in order to be able to learn the skills. Change the name to Grenadier and whatever the skill is going to be. So it's going to be Molotov and Nail Bomb and Ice. Now you're probably going to want to add your own requirements to this, but I just remove it for the testing purposes. I'm looking up the name of the grenades that I want to use for this testing. Now whenever you make changes, always hit save afterwards, as I do right there. Now close the window. I'm going into the game, just showing you how to move around. You go into the game hitting that button in the top left corner. And now I'm going to look for a skill book in the root template so I can attach those new objects that I just made to a skill book. Therefore, I can put them in the game and you can learn them. So I'm going to grab the ranger ones. I'm going to create a new from selected. I'm going to change the name to the grenadier one, and then I'm going to attach the stats and the skill to it. So I'm going to scroll down to stats here. And that's where I'm going to change it to the skill book that we just made. So it's skill book Grenadier, and it's going to be a Molotov, I think. Oh, nail bomb. Start with nail bomb. And then I'm going to go to the item state. We're going to use action. And this is where we attach the actual projectile that you learn. So this is going to be projectile, Grenadier, grenade, nail bomb. So I create that. Now I hit create more instead of create, but now I'm going to filter it so we just see. This is part of why you always use the prefix. So now I can easily just go to the all and search Grenadier, and the object I create, all the objects I create are going to come up in only the objects I create, which is why I really like doing that prefix. Now I'm making a Molotov. It's the same exact process. Change the name to Molotov, go to stats, change it to Molotov. It autofills for you, which is really nice. Go to skill book, change it to Molotov. Just go to the end, you can type M, and it'll autofill for you also, which is great. And I'm going to do the same thing for ice. Create new from selected, ice. And there we go. We have our 3 example books. And I put them out in the scene by just clicking it and then dropping it in the scene. Now I have all 3 books, and I can go into the scene and learn them. So here I go into the scene. I save the changes to the root templates, palettes, and items. There I clicked away from the example and showed you where to actually save it in the root templates in the top left of the root templates. Here I'm just getting all the books, going to learn them, and then show off the skills. There you go. That's all 3 skills. Now we're going to go how to create a test character so you can play around against the character and attack him and have him not fight back and just test your damage. So here I'm going to grab a human male armor and add to the Grenadier prefix, and it's just a target. I'm going to set his level to 60, so he's basically unkillable. So here I go to level override and set a -1. What -1 means it scales to your level. I'm setting him to 60. So he's a set level that he's going to basically be unkillable, except for some glitches that you'll see later. So here I go back to all in the root templates. I type in Grenadier, and then all my templates that I made come up. So I grab him and pull him out and drag him into the scene. Just put him down. Cool. Then we go back in, where it's show you what happens when you play with him. So this is the base damage at level 1. With all the skills, you're hitting for 4. That was 3. And then that's just the nice glitch that you have in the editor where it just killed him in one shot. You can see all the errors in the message log at the very bottom of the screen. Until you test it in game, I chalk those up to editor errors. It happens. There's a lot of bugs in the editor. It's one of the reasons I stopped editing bugs. So that just showed you how I reset the scene. So I went to File, Reload Level, and then that brought him back. I can go and test again. That's important. You're going to have to reload the level a lot. So there's a clean example. Went through all the skills. Everyone did the appropriate amount of damage, 4 damage for the level. Now I'm going to add some weapons. So I don't actually get into this as much as I intended to originally. But I'm basically just going to throw one of each type of weapon basically into the scene. A one-hander and a two-hander. And then have them at level 1, level 10, level 20. The point was basically to scale your skills appropriately. You want to compare them to weapons that are in the game. So if you put these down, you can test the damage that you would do with normal attacks at that level, and then compare that to the damage of your skills. This is just showing you how to put them into the scene, though I don't really use this as much as I intended when I first set it up. That noise in the background is from the game. Okay, so here, you go to level override, set it to level 1. 1. And that's the other two are set to level 10, and then the last two are set to level 20. So I didn't actually end up doing this testing like I intended, but that's what you should do and what I've done for my other mods to make sure to try to get it balanced as much as you can within the editor. So this, you press Control Shift F11 and you bring up Recon. Recon lets you use command prompts to modify your game. You can max out your level, you can change health, you can heal things, revive, etc. That'll come up again later. So here I grab some weapons to do some comparative testing, show you that the base skills that we have are appropriate for the level. So throw a Molotov, does 4 damage, nail bomb, 4, bugs out, kills the guy, happens, okay. Go to file, reload level. I don't know why that keeps happening. I don't know if it happens in the game. I haven't tested this. I just made this just for this tutorial. Here it is, trying it again, making sure that's actually working properly. But reset the level again. Just, this is things you run into with the editor. It's super fun. So here, use the weapon to show you what the regular damage should be. 4, that's with a one-hander with just level 1, no skills and anything. So, perfectly in line. It's actually, the grenades are more powerful because they inflict status effects too. So you have bleed, you have burning, and you have frozen and chilled. So really, it's more powerful than the one-hander, and even more powerful than the two-hander, because it only takes 1 action point to attack. So here, showing you recon, level up, 9. So this gets me to level 10, so it's already level 1. See I'm level 10 there. So now I need to equip give myself some extra stats so I can equip what. This is just showing you the scaling that you get just from leveling up. So now I do 29 damage instead of 4. So that's just basic scaling, just from leveling up. No attribute scaling at all. And there is no attribute scaling. We'll have to add that in later. Grenades are a little weird like that. Normal projectiles will have attribute scaling. Like if you made fireball, it would already be scaling. This is just showing you the consistent damage of each one. They all do roughly the same. And none of them were affected by that strength increase. So here I attack, show you the damage of one-hander. It's actually slightly less than the grenades were doing. Two-hander. That does slightly more, but less if you consider the status effects of the grenades. Anyway, that's just a good way to make sure what you're doing is balanced. At least try to. So here, this is what's needed to make the grenades work. So, grenades are an object, and you need to create your own grenadier objects because the grenade skill is actually attached to the grenade object, the object that is thrown in a projectile animation. It's a little weird, and I didn't realize this and I got caught on it a little bit. So here, I create my own version of the grenades that I'm using. I just made the 2. I made nail bomb and Molotov. I left ice out for demonstrative purposes to show you what happens if you don't do this with grenade skills. So here you go into it, and what's important to change is the use action. You want to make it use your new projectile skill, not the original, because its by default object is the original grenade. So you have to attach it to your grenadier grenade Molotov, and Grenadier Grenade Nail Bomb. This is very important, and otherwise you get no scaling. Well, scaling. It's not connected to your projectile that you made. So now you need to copy the GUID and put this in as a projectile being thrown in the stats editor. So here you're going to go all the way over in the stats editor under projectile and your projectiles and the moving object. The moving object is the object being thrown. So I take the GUID that I just copied and I paste it in the moving object. Then I go and grab the nail bomb and do the same thing. So I'm going to right click on a nail bomb, copy GUID to clipboard, go back to the stat editor, go to nail bomb, moving object, and paste. Save. So now we have the basic skills. They have a damage multiplier of 70 on all of them. Nail bomb, Molotov, and ice are all 70. So here I'm going to change them and show you what happens. Oh, I guess I do that later. Here I'm showing you that after adding the GUID, they don't really change. So see, they're all the same. This one's a little bit higher because I have pyrotechnic skill from messing around off camera. So ignore that. Well, but what I'm trying to show is that they all basically have the same damage as they're supposed to before. So now, after this, I'm going to modify the damage and show you how they actually change. Then we're going to go back to stat editor, projectiles, and we're going to go to the damage multiplier, and we're going to modify that. So before they're all 70, and now we're going to set ice to 120, Molotov to 120, and nail bomb to 200. Actually, we're going to set ice to 200 too. So, ice and nail bomb should do the same damage now. With firebomb, slightly more, just showing you that it also changed. So here's nail bomb. It does 80 damage. Here's Molotov. It's going to do 54 damage. And here's ice. 24 damage. See? Because we didn't modify the grenade object for ice and didn't attach it to the projectile thrown, it is not scaling based on our new projectile that we made for Grenadier class. So that's how you get damage scaling to work on your projectile. Now you need stat scaling with it too. The way to get stat scaling to work first I'm going to demonstrate that everything's equal. Alright, so 48 damage, and then it's going to do that 60. Yeah, because I have some points in pyro. Don't worry about that. They're the same, except there we get that little bug that we have in the editor. So reload the level. Again, demonstrating that the damage is pretty much equal. So now to add scaling. So we're going to make it a fire skill, which means it's going to scale up into light, and a novice tier. So if you make it a warrior skill, it's going to scale off strength. If you make it a ranger skill, it's going to scale, or a rogue skill, it's going to scale off finesse. So that's fire, showing you it does the same damage. Now the nail bomb is going to do way more damage. nail bomb's going to do 73, sorry, 73 damage. So way more, even though it's the same scaling. 120 scaling does 73 damage. And there we get the little bug, reload level. Nail bomb does 73 damage. Show you what happens when I add more intellect. Now it'll do about 90 damage. Now we go to warfare. Because the nail bomb is a physical attack, warfare is what's going to increase damage. If I change it to fire, then pyro would increase the damage. And now it scales with warfare and strength. So now it does 129 damage. That's why you do it. Showing you that the Molotov does not scale because it's not set properly. Another bug, reload level. Just demonstrating that ice does not scale at all, still. Even though it should with intellect, because you'd think, oh hey, it's a damage. Still 29. That's why I do it. If you have any questions, please let me know.